Hello, I am Gepwin, and this is my quick little review of Fallout Shelter, the new mobile game from the Fallout series that was announced at E3 and released that very same day. Very exciting. I love this game. It's a little spoiler for the review. I am joining this game right after the tutorial section because the tutorial is unfortunately a little bit boring. It does tell you everything you need to know and does end pretty quickly, but every time you start a new vault, you'll get exactly the same tutorial and be forced to do exactly the same thing, which I dislike. Shut up, you helpful hints. I'll get to that later. So, what is Fallout Shelter? Fallout Shelter is a game in which you are building a vault. In the Fallout universe, a vault is a massive underground structure that people have used to survive the apocalypse for up to hundreds of years. Now, this game is all about resource management and people management. You see at the top here we have three resources. We have the lightning bolt, which is power. We have the Forgan knife, which is food, and we have the water droplet, which is water. Yes, and we keep getting helpful hints because you just started the game, which I find a teeny bit annoying the third time I've started a vault. Just being honest with that in the tutorializing, it gets a little heavy-handed early on, but it does drop off completely later. So, to manage your resources, you have several kinds of rooms. You have the shelter, which you can use to store your dwellers as well as make babies, as it says here. So the living quarters determines how many people you can have in your room. You also have a power generator, which generates power, a diner, which generates food, a water treatment plant, which generates water, as well as a few other kinds of rooms that you unlock as you gain more dwellers. So you get storage, which lets you have more items, a med bay, which lets you make stem packs to heal your dwellers, a science lab, which allows you to make radiation reducing things, which are RadAway, a radio studio to bring in more dwellers and increase happiness, etc., etc. And as you see, each of these rooms is gated by the number of dwellers that you have in your vault, up to 100 dwellers to get a Nuka-Cola bottler. I don't know what that does, but I very much want one. Very much. Oh, it makes food and water. That's the little symbol. So the more dwellers you have in your vault, the better stuff you can achieve with your ruins, but also the more food and water you use up. Now, let's assign a few people. Every single one of your vault dweller has special stats. If you click on the stats, you can see what they are. Special stands for strength, perception, intelligence, charisma, strength, perception, endurance, charisma, intelligence, agility, and luck. Each room has one of these stats assigned to it. So, bedrooms, charisma, water treatment is perception, diner is agility, and strength goes to power. So, this guy here, for example, has a high strength, endurance, charisma, and agility. Since we already have two people in our power room, which is the maximum amount you can have in any unupgraded room, we will take this guy who has his 2 agility, and we will drag him into the diner by clicking and holding to get this little outline, and moving him down to the diner. Now, very helpfully, you can see as you hover over the rooms, it tells you how much of the appropriate stat he has. Also, a quick tip that some people might not know: if you hold a dweller over a room that is full, it will tell you if he has more or less of any of the stats than any person in the room. And then if he has an upgrade to the stats, it would say, for example, strength +1, he would then replace the person with the lowest stats in that room. Now, this little thing that popped up at the bottom is a objective. You get 3 objectives at a time, and as you fill them, you get things. You see here, we have assign 2 dwellers to a room to get 25 bottle caps, send 1 dweller to Wasteland, which I'll get to later, to get 25 bottle caps, and successfully rush a room to get a lunchbox. So let's assign the rest of our dwellers here very quickly, and then I can talk about some more things of the game and get into my full review. So this guy has good perception and agility, so we will put him into the water treatment plant. That completes our task and gets us 25 caps, which is the currency of the game. It is the only currency in the game, which I very much like. And it gets us a new objective, which is collect 50 water. Thank you, I know we can build the rooms. I'll get to that later, Vault Boy. This woman here, Lisa, has a high strength, a high charisma, high intelligence, but low perception and low agility. So we would put her in power, but the power room is full. However, if you want to make more power, you can go into the build menu, you can grab a power generator, and this gets to one of the main mechanics of the game, which is if you build the same rooms next to each other, it expands the room. And then expanding the room lets you put more vault dwellers into it. This is very important, because the way that the rooms make their resource is they each have a timer. You see here it says 6 minutes. Now at the end of those 6 minutes we will receive 22 power, as it says on the bottom. The more vault dwellers you have in there and the higher stats they have of the appropriate type, so for power it is strength, the faster it goes. You see it just dropped down to 4 minutes. If we find someone else with good strength, she has decent strength. If we find someone else with good strength and put her into the room, then this room will have its maximum 4 capacity. Each room lets you put 2 additional vault dwellers in it. And then when she gets to the room, it will drop again and be producing energy even faster. So upgrading the rooms, or expanding the rooms rather, lets you put more vault dwellers in them and it'll produce energy. It will produce their resource faster and faster. You can also upgrade their into a certain number of caps. We don't have enough now, so I won't on this particular vault. And that, you see, the current production is 22, and it can store 100, and if you upgrade it, it will create 200, excuse me, it'll create 26 power and store 150. And your vault dwellers also level up. I was going to talk about that in a little bit. The level up, as far as I do not know exactly what it does, it seems to make them better in general. It does not give you any appreciable number on that for stats. It seems to make them better at what they do, and it also seems to increase their ability to survive in the wastelands. So this guy has 5 agility. He is perfect for the diner here. This person has 5 perception, perfect for water. Very good. And you see he gets little happy things. If you assign someone to a job that they are very well suited for, they become happy and they raise their happiness. Each has a happiness stat. You can see that Nathan here has 75 happiness. Keeping your vault dwellers happy is very important. And they are happy as long as they have good resources and are working a job that they like. Now, I don't know if them being unhappy impacts their stats significantly, but what it does do is affect your daily report. You'll get a daily report every day. It will grade you based on how happy your vault dwellers are and give you a bonus of caps. Now let us continue adding. Now, the last 2, we will put them in this room here, which is the living quarters. The vault is full of dwellers. Alright, I'm full of dwellers, which you can see here. Let's see, we can only have 8. We have 8 out of 8, so we need to build another living quarter. Let's do that very quickly. I don't have anywhere to build a living quarter that is clear because I planned this vault very badly, as I'm not planning on keeping it, so we'll build one down here. Now we can take these last 2, the man and the woman, and drag them into the living quarters. They both have 2 charisma, which is quite important for living quarters. Because if you take a male and female and put them into the living quarters, there is a chance that they will go into the back and make a baby. And this is one of the best ways to grow your vault population, is to basically breed your vault dwellers together and create babies, which will increase the population. The other way to get population, thank you very much, I understand. The other way to increase population is to wait for travelers to come to your vault. This happens fairly often early on and then falls off as you go. We'll get more water. As you saw there, we ran out of water because we would need more water or to upgrade the water room to get our water supplies to go up. Or we can rush the room, which is the other very interesting and very important mechanic. Oh, as you see here, we just had someone arrive. As I said, this happens fairly often early in the game. Now this person who just arrived, we don't have anywhere to put right now, so we will put her into here and just have her wait until we build more rooms. Now, this game has a rush mechanic, and since this is a free-to-play game, rush mechanics are generally terrible. As you know, the monetization structure of most of these free-to-play building games involves you trying to do something, the game telling you it cannot be accomplished for a number of hours, and that you can pay $1 or so to finish it right away. It basically frustrates you into giving it money. This game, however, has a rush mechanic. So we need more water because we're running low on water. So I go to the water room and it says that we'll finish in a minute, or I can rush it. Now instead of having to use some kind of premium currency or pay real money, the rush mechanic gives me a 30% chance of failure. So I can hit activate, and they will try to rush. And they have a 30% chance of failing and something terrible happening, as it did right there. In this case, there is a fire. The fire keeps the room from producing. They put it out. If you don't have any dwellers in the room, the fire will spread and shut down production in adjacent rooms. So failing these is quite bad. But if you succeed, let's see if we can succeed one, you get the resource immediately, but you also get an influx of caps. So not only are you not being charged, not only are you not being charged for finishing things early, you're actually being incentivized to rush your rooms. I think that's an incredible mechanic. Now you may ask, if that's not how they're making money, how are they making money? Well, they're making money by selling you these lunchboxes. Lunchboxes are one of the rewards you can earn from your quest list here, your objectives. And when you get one, you can open it up and it gives you a number of card items. These card items can be anything ranging from caps to equipment or even vault dwellers. So we got ourselves a rusty BB gun. We got ourselves some extra caps. We got some food. And we got more caps. Now, that was an unusual case where we only got one bad item, but you usually get a decent item. You can get an extra vault dweller who has some special or rare equipment on them, etc., etc. And that is how they make their money, because if you go when you do not have anything, you will see it opens up the store, and you can buy these lunchboxes. Each one comes with 4 cards, one guaranteed to be rare. So if you wish to spend money on the game, that is how you do it. It is completely optional. In a second, I will take you over to my main vault, which I have been building, and I have not spent a single cent. Now, it appears that our vault dwellers have finally fallen in love. It takes different amounts of time based on their charisma, and this will show you the other main mechanic of the game, which is breeding your vault dwellers. It's not a hugely main mechanic, but it is, as I said, the best way to gain your vault dweller population. So after they go in back and have smiley faces at each other for a while, they will come out, and as you see, the woman will actually be pregnant. Now this pregnancy lasts a number of hours. I've never actually timed it, and it doesn't give you a timer. And then once she is done being pregnant, she'll run to the back of the room and a small child will emerge. This person will put in another vault here. We really need more water. We've also just unlocked a new room by upping our population, so we've unlocked the storage room, which lets us have more outfits and weapons and etc. We need to build another water plant because we are running out of water. So we'll build another water plant. We'll assign some of our non-assigned people to it. Just like that, and that will even out our water supplies. Now, when a vault dweller is pregnant, they can still work, still do whatever. As you see, if I drag her to the rooms, it'll tell me whether she's better at anything. She's better in the diner than one of these people, so we will move him up here and maybe get another baby. They can still work. One interesting thing that I have found with the pregnant women, and I find it an interesting game mechanic, is they will run away when something dangerous happens, which I think is all well and good. They don't want your pregnant women dying in the vault. I think that's a fine mechanic. You would lose, the baby and a vault dweller. It would be terrible because they can die. So they run away. So if you happen to have a room like this one, let's say this one here, where we have 3 females in it, if all 3 of these female vault dwellers were pregnant and there was a fire or rad roach or a raider invasion in this room, they would all leave and you'd be left with only 1 person to deal with it instead of the normal 3. Which doesn't play in hugely, but I do find those small game mechanics, those little attentions to detail, very interesting. Now, the final thing that I want to talk about before I go and show you what you can accomplish in a couple of days is this mechanic where you send people to the wasteland. If you take one of your people and drag them outside, you can give them equipment, which we have none. Well, we have a BB gun. Have a BB gun. Good job. That will help you out. And you can give them stem packs and radaway if you have created any. We have not at this point in the game. And you can tell him to explore. Now, he can run out and explore for any amount of time you would like him to. And while he is exploring, you get this really kind of fun little text menu. We've sent 1 dweller to the waste and completed another quest. And now we get level up 1 dweller, which is very easy, and we'll get a lunchbox. Lunchboxes come a lot faster in the beginning of the game. So as you see, we're getting a lunchbox for many, many objectives early on. This drops off as you go, but it doesn't drop off completely. So when you complete some slightly longer tasks, you still get lunchboxes for free. And you never reach a point where you have to buy them to continue to get them. Now that we've sent someone out to the waste, you can click on the wasteland, and it brings up this menu. Now you have no control here, but it's a very fun little text crawl that tells you what's happening. It gives you an idea of what the world outside of the vault is like. Every now and then he will encounter an enemy which he will fight. It will decide whether he takes damage or not. He will kill the enemy. He will gain experience. He will sometimes find caps, and the longer he is out, he will find better and better equipment and more caps and gain more and more experience. You can recall him back to the vault at any time by hitting the red recall button. And then he will come back. It will take him half as long as he has been out to return. So if he has been out exploring for 2 hours, he will take 1 hour to return to you. This is very much a micromanage and wait kind of game. Now, what is my main problem with this particular mechanic is the Vault Dwellers will continue going and taking damage the further out they go. The further they go, the more danger it is, the more damage they take. And they will quite often die when you're not paying attention. So, I send a Dweller out in the morning, for example. I go off to do chores or go out to work or something that keeps me away from my iPad for a couple of hours and I can't check back. I return home, my Vault Dweller has died because I didn't get a chance to look at the game in the last 2 hours. 2, 3, 5 hours. You can load them up with stim packs and things to increase that duration, but it doesn't always increase it as much as you would think. So you constantly have to keep checking back to make sure that your Vault Dwellers are alive, or remember to recall them before you do something like go to bed or leave for work or school. This is not a terrible mechanic, as you can always bring your Vault Dwellers back to life if you have the caps to do it. But, as you see, he suffered 1 damage. But it's a little bit annoying to have to micromanage to that level and be forced to micromanage on the game's schedule and not yours. That is the only problem that I have with that. Now, let's go to a large vault that I have been building, and you can see what you can do after a couple of days in the game. This is Vault 3, the vault that I have been cultivating for some time. I just had a new baby born, and I can rename them if I wish. Why not? Let's name this one YouTube in honor of the fact that he was born live on this review. Good job, YouTube. Now, every time you come back, you will probably have some things to collect from the rooms. The rooms do collect things while you leave. Your food, water, and energy also go down a little while you're away. So, here's another baby. If you leave with your vault in a bad position, you can come back to everyone in the vault having died, which I find a little bit unfortunate. But as long as you leave while the vault is in an okay state, that probably will not happen. Now I have 2 children running around, so I can show you them. They have a little bar that tells you how long they'll take to get to adulthood. And another child, thank you. And they will be completely useless for a few hours until they're adults, and then you can assign them to a room like anyone else. We have unlocked a new room. What did I get here? We currently are at the fitness room, which increases our endurance, which, as far as I know, is not yet used in any of the rooms. I don't know what to do with that. Thank you, babies. So many babies. I have lots of pregnant people at a time, so I get a huge influx of babies every now and again. It's one of the ways to increase your population in the game. Currently at 36. Now, later in the game, you do get these rooms that increase some of your dwellers' stats. This particular one increases agility. I'm very sorry, I blanked on the word. This increases agility, this one increases reception. You can see here that I've gotten some power armor for one of my women here. So you get better equipment as you go on, and get lunch boxes and so on and so forth. You also can get some fairly complicated objectives, like assign 12 dwellers to the right room, which takes a little while, 4 people dancing, rush 6 rooms. The objectives get more and more complicated as you go, but it does give you greater rewards. I can also give you a quick look at the daily reports. I have another one coming in 5 hours, but thus far I've been increasing my people's happiness every day so far, with slightly increasing rewards of caps as I go. Now, I've been playing this obsessively since I got it when it launched, and this is about how far I got in 3 days. I know there are some people who kind of min-maxed the mating system and used that to go their vault much more quickly. This is me playing on and off fairly obsessively, but not trying to min-max the system. Now, we have a raider attack. This will let me talk about a little bit of an annoyance of mine, which is the raider attacks. They come and they don't actually give you anything. They siphon off your resources while you're fighting them. But you don't get anything for beating them other than a small amount of experience, so really it's just a minor annoyance, especially at the point when everyone in your vault is armed. Now they're going to be able to deal with this quite easily. I moved into the main vault entrance to fight, and I do like watching them fight the raiders. It's quite fun and enjoyable to me. It's just amusing. One of them is dying. But you do get random events like this. It's never a good random event. I suppose... where did my camera go? I suppose having someone show up at your vault door is a good random event, but other than that, it's all bad. It's it's a little repetitive. It's either raiders, fires, or rad scorpions. I hope that they add more in later. It is very early on in the game's release still, so there's always a chance they will add more in later on. And I'd be surprised if they did not, to be honest with you. It's Bethesda, they love to add little things to the game, so I'd be very surprised if they don't add something soon to spice up the variety a bit. But for now, after a while, you will see every bad thing that can happen in the vault happen many, many, many times. That's one of the small complaints I have about the game. Now they'll finish off this raider here. And let's just talk very briefly. I have one guy outside that I can show you, if it would let me. Yes. I have one person who's been out for 3 hours, and he has found some equipment. So this is what it looks like later on, when you have someone who's strong enough to go out into the wastelands for longer than an hour or so, and they can bring back such as an enhanced BB gun, formal wear, and a pistol. So they find better stuff the longer they're out. So my final review of the game, I would say it's definitely worth picking up, especially if free. It's easy to play without needing to spend money, which is a very, very good pro in my book. It's challenging enough to be interesting and keep you coming back, but it's not so challenging that it's hugely frustrating and requires you to micromanage completely constantly. My annoyances are if you leave at the wrong time or forget to recall a vault dweller or something. Your vault dwellers do die very easily, but you can always bring them back to life, which some people may like, some people may not. I know some people like the more hardcore, realistic one death and they're gone. But in this kind of game where it's so easy to have to leave the game for an hour and have them die, I think that being able to bring them back is a really good thing to have. My other annoyance right now is that it just doesn't have quite enough in it. You will finish the game, I guess. You will have every room unlocked after 100 vault dwellers, which, as you see, I've been playing for 3 days and have almost 50. I know some people have been playing for the 3 days and have about 90 or so. So depending on how quickly you're trying to mate the people in your game, you will get to the end a little bit quickly. And some of the things will get a little repetitive. The failure rates are always the same two things, or the raiders will attack, and that's really the only other things that happen. So I hope they address that in a patch, but for a free game it's still very nice and very polished. Overall, I would definitely recommend it. It is available right now on iOS on the App Store for free, and it will be coming at some time in the future to Android devices. I'm sorry, I do not believe that they have announced a time for that yet. Oh well, I'm Gep, and I very much hope that you have enjoyed this. It was intended to be a quick review, but turned into kind of a tutorial/review of Fallout Shelter. I do recommend picking it up if you have your iPad or iPhone. Definitely worth it, definitely a good little distraction, and one of the best free-to-play games I have ever seen. Good job, Bethesda. I hope that you have enjoyed this video and you found it useful. If you did, leave a like. If you'd like to see more things like this or some of my gameplay videos, you can of course subscribe for everything it is that I do. I am Gefwin. Thank you very, very much for watching, and I will see you soon.